Okay, so now we move on to the RSA Chase, where we've got Nicky Henderson Santini at the top of the market. Very impressive at Newbury, third in the Cotto Star at Kempton. Top of the game for Paul Nicholls, he was second in that race. Vastly different conditions at Cheltenham, of course. Also high up in the betting, we've got Gordon Elliott's Delta Work, who won the Pretemps last year. He's now a dual Grade 1 winner over fences. For me, I think Delta Work ticks the most boxes for the race. Gets on like a house on fire with Davy Russell as well, who no better man for Cheltenham, as we know. We've got the likes of Vindication, the likes of Chris's Dream as well, who won the 10-up Novices Chase last time out. What do you make of it, boys? Another open race.
Yeah, tricky one. Santini hasn't really had a great deal of experience. Generally with RSA runners, I'd like to have seen them have like at least 3 starts over fences. So he's only had the 2, and of course was only third to Labago Roy, albeit in the Grade 1 Cheltenham Novices Chase last time out. So I'd be looking away from the current favourite. Vindication is a horse I like. I can't wait to see him step up to 3 miles, but he hasn't yet raced left-handed. That could be a concern. He was just over 3 lengths behind Defi de Soy last time out at Sandown. Looked like he was crying out for the longer trip.
Yeah. And also front-running tactics.
Yeah, and
him in that day, didn't
Strange tactics.
He did tend to jump out to his right, so that would be a concern if he does turn up here. But bear him in mind for Punchestown if he avoids Cheltenham and Aintree. And on the blind side, Nicky Henderson's 3rd string at the moment. This one was beaten out of sight when favourite on his Chase debut behind Lost in Translation. That was his first run after wind surgery, but stepped up to 3 miles at Kempton last time out. He beat Talk Is Cheap quite comfortably, and he's around about the 14-1 mark. So I think the race is perhaps deeper than the market suggests, and I'd be looking at on the blind side at a price. But again, he's only had the 2 runs over fences, so it's a tricky one. If you've got anything solid that you'd prefer, I'd certainly go with your views on this.
I think it's a good race. I think Santini did well to finish where he did at Kempton. I didn't think the track suited him at all. I think back to Cheltenham, he's looked a little bit of a machine at times, hasn't he? Certainly in Newbury he was. Top of the game, nearly refused to start at Exeter before running so well there. That would be a slight concern. Once that's in the back of the mind, big
possibility again.
Big crowd, a lot of hullabaloo. It could happen again. Yeah. I'm with you. I think Delta Work's a real professional.
Yeah.
I mean, he knuckled down well to win the Pretemps, so he's been to Cheltenham, got good festival form already. I thought he stepped up again. I know he was odds on to win last time at Leopardstown, but it was 2.5 miles up to 3, and he just ground him into submission. I could see a similar scenario here. I think him and Santini, they look the class horses to me in this field, and Delta Work's a slightly bigger price. So
he won't want to get as far behind on Santini as he did last year in the Albert Bartlett. He need to use his stamina a little bit more this year if he wants to win, I feel, Nico.
That's the beauty with Delta Work, isn't he? He's got that form in the Drinmore, obviously really good form, and he had the pace to lay up with a true 2-miler in Le Richebourg that day, who unfortunately we're not going to see in March. So there are positives there that he's got that extra bit of tactical speed, perhaps,
which is important around here, of course.
I'll just throw a big price one into the mix. Top Phil Ben, horse we mentioned earlier on, was last of 5 behind Mr. Malarkey at Ascot. When favourite, but just can't operate right-handed. We have to go back to December 2017 to find the last time he got beat when completing the course on a left-handed track. So a front runner, running style that can often be useful in the chases here. I think he could go well. Currently 40-1.
If he recovers from those Ascot exertions, because he did go hell for leather there for pretty much 9/10 of that race, he could be an interesting one for sure. He's a very likeable horse.
Indeed. So that's just about it for the RSA. Another open race. I think 2 of us agree on Delta Work. Anything in the champion bumper? I mean, probably not Envoy Allen.
Yeah, I've got one that's caught my eye, and that was again. I talked earlier about the sort of track bias at Ascot this season. That the inside's been badly cut up, and most of the winners in bumpers and over hurdles have come late and wide round the outside. Now, Alan King has got the Glancing Queen, a daughter of Jeremy. Now, she won a sole point-to-point.
Dark horse.
Won her sole point-to-point start. on a rules debut. She ran here at Cheltenham at the November meeting in the listed bumper. She was a 16-to-1 shot. She's come late to beat Mega Yates into second place that day, and then she's gone to Ascot for another listed bumper, and she's raced round the inside, which is the route Alan King's runners often seem to take. I think he instructs his jockeys to take the shortest way round, regardless of how the track's riding. And so the winner and the second were wider than the Glancing Queen, who I think did really well to finish third in that race, having been ridden around the inside. That was back in December. We haven't seen her since, but I'd certainly give her a chance as being best of the British if she does turn up.
Fourth has won since, Enrilo, I think. Boost the form a little bit. Obviously, we're playing hostage a little bit to Elliott and Mullins, who seem to have a string of entries here. But the one that I really liked was Malone Road, I must admit, when he quickened to win. Oh, it just looks an absolute tool at Punchestown. So, but as we know, that the first string from that stable rarely win this race. So, you know, that's a little bit of a concern. But he was the one I really liked. And I liked Andy Dufresne as well. I thought he was a great, big, lovely looking
I'm just
horse
glad this isn't part of the place pot. Because
Yes,
this can be a bit of a nightmare finding one of the first three, let alone the winner.
I'll throw in Fury Road, who won at Gowran the other day for Gordon Elliott. He was subject to some money after that win. I think he's quite a nice horse if he goes for the champion bumper. But other than that, the picture is a little bit blurry as things stand. So we'll move on to the JLT Novices Chase now, which is the opening race on Thursday. I just think this race is going to cut up quite a bit. I mean, you've got Lost in Translation up the top of the market now at about 3-to-1. Defi Desai probably going to go for the Arkle now. Glen Forza, top of the game, goes for the RSA. So a couple of weeks ago in my blog, I put up Spirit of the Games, each way at 66-to-1. Now, he carried top weight in a race won by Kildisart on Cheltenham Trials Day. And Kildisart and Spirit of the Games, between them, you know, they clocked a very good speed figure. I think Kildisart is something around the 14-to-1 mark for this race. Spirit of the Games has been nibbled in at
10-to-1 best now, Kildisart.
Is he really? Okay, yeah, even so, he's a nice horse. He's got a serious engine, hasn't he? But I think the main question is what's going to run here. Lost in Translation heads the market. He looks nailed on. But
yeah, I mean, he's not unbeatable, is he?
No.
I think if Glen Forza runs here, he'd probably get my vote.
Yeah.
Because the sectional and the overall time that he managed to achieve at Sandown in destroying Kalashnikov was obscene. Yeah, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
I think the likes of Drover's Lane,
I like
Rebecca
him.
Curtis,
I like him a lot.
progressed too quickly, got himself out of the Novice Handicap Chase, which I thought was going to be the ideal race for him early season, and he's just gone through the roof really ratings wise. So I think he's a definite contender. Kalashnikov obviously could switch to this if the ground was quite quick on the Tuesday.
I mean, if they're of the view now that there's one or two, you know, that their likeliest chance of a win could be the JLT, they might well switch Kalashnikov and he'd have a serious chance. Mounty, do you have any views in the JLT at all?
Not yet, just a few trends. I mean, Noble Prince, the first winner of this, was second in his prep race, but all subsequent winners were successful on their latest completed start. Black Hercules had fallen on his in his prep start, but won the time before. And all 8 winners were aged 6 or 7, and all prepped in a Grade 1 or Grade 2. So if you're looking for something to step up from Handicap Company to win this, I would look again.
Right.
Okay, so just 3 against the top of the market at the moment as things stand would be Kildisart, Drover's Lane and Spirit of the Games. The Dawn Run Mares Novices Hurdle, again, you know, we've got the likes of Epitante, Honeysuckle. Any of those catch your eye? Lust for Glory, Posh Trish?
Well, Epitante was very free and keen again at Exeter.
She hasn't settled, is she?
She hasn't been on the track much, has she, this year? Just a couple of starts.
And they haven't done much in the clock either.
No,
Epitante.
No, they've just been a bit of it. So I like Honeysuckle. I thought it was a nice performance last time. Obviously, Rachel Blackmore going to ride, I think, for Henry de Bromhead. She probably won a bit further in time, I would think, but you know, strongly run 2 miles around Cheltenham should be ideal, and just at the prices, Honeysuckle at this stage, but it's not a big betting race for me, I must admit.
No, I'm a fan of Posh Trish. I think, you know, she's fit, she's solid, she's been running against the best mares in the UK all season.
She tries, doesn't she?
She tries hard. You know, she's trained by an absolute genius. She's around about the 8, 9, 10-to-1 mark. So it's
just surprising to see something not trained by Willie Mullins head the market at the moment.
I know, yeah, he doesn't seem to have much in there. Shall we move on to Friday and the Triumph Hurdle?
Why not?
Why not?
Where Sir Eric, he ran up to a Racing Post rating of 146 in the Spring Juvenile. He looks an absolute machine. We know how much promise he was shown on the flat before he switched to hurdles. he seems to have everything. You look at the horses below him, the likes of Tiger Tap Tap, Ajali, Torpillo, Gardens of Babylon. I mean, he's just better than all of them, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the most important trial, and he's done something Battle Over Doyen did, which was to make that leap from maiden hurdle winner to grade one hurdle winner in one go. I think Mr. Adjudicator did that last year before placing in this event, so he's gonna be hard to beat, isn't he? Basically,
yeah.
11 to 10. Not much juice in that price, but it's probably about right.
But he jumped well, didn't he, Leopardstown? That Spring Juvenile, as Andrew says, often a really good trial for this race. You know, very, very classy horse off the flat, stays well, gallops, and is trained by a genius. So no surprise at 11 to 10, you know, he's going to lead the market. I think Keldastan is in danger of being underestimated. I really liked his performance last time at Haydock. I know Torpillo looked a little bit of an awkward conveyance that day, but he destroyed him. He broke his heart, basically. He just turns up and he wins. He's going to be, I would think, the professional knocking each way bet against Sir Eric, I think. And if
similar
there's any
to the way Grand Sensi would be in the Supreme, same connection, same.
Yeah, they've done brilliantly well, haven't they? The Broughton connections this year, they've had a great bit of success, really, with those two horses.
Okay, so it looks for Sir Eric's taken then in the Triumph Hurdle. The other race we have on Friday is quite difficult to get a handle on, so just if you do have something, we can mention it. If
I like this race.
The Albert Bartlett?
The potato race, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, we've got Dickie Diver, won the other day at Chepstow.
Yeah,
good time.
yeah.
He looks pretty nice. Lisnagar Oscar, Commander of Fleet. What do you reckon, guys?
Obviously, the horse that beat Dickie Diver, Lisnagar Oscar, absolutely bolted up at Haydock the next time in Grade 2 company. He was only rated 133 going into that race, and I wondered whether they might look at a handicap with him.
Isn't it nice to see Rebecca Curtis with some nice horses? She's got Lisnagar Oscar now, Drover's Lane as well.
Yeah,
you know,
she's won this race before with that Fisher's Cross.
Yes, indeed. She spent a few years in the doldrums, but it's nice to see her coming out of that again.
So I think Lisnagar Oscar is a big player here. I also like Sam's Profile if he turns up in this as well. I was really impressed with him. Mouse Morris.
Okay, well.
Second to Battle Over Doyen in the Lawless of Nace. You know, good performance, staying on all the way to the line. I think the step up to 3 miles will be perfect for him.
Do you think that this will be his race then?
It looks that way. I don't see any point in taking on Battle Over Doyen again because he got beaten fairly readily by him at Nace. He had the speed to win over 2. He's finished second to Derrin Ross. If it turned into a bog, I think Derrin Ross is a real player in this at a decent price as well. But that Battle Over Doyen performance at Nace was a really good speed figure, one of the best novice hurdle speed figures I've got this year, so he would definitely be one that I'll be keen on. I think he's sort of 14-16 to 1 Sam's Profile. That's
not a bad price.
Not at all.
Mounty, Albert Bartlett, what do you reckon?
Yeah, no strong opinion here. Half interested in Stony Mountain, who was third to Lisnagar Oscar at Haydock last time out.
Henry Daly trained.
Yeah, ridden very patiently that day, and we know Haydock generally favours front runners. The winner and second were 1-2 throughout that day, and although beaten quite a long way, 14 lengths, I think if it does come up a little bit softer, 33 to 1 about that one might be quite reasonable. He'll be hunted round at the back and could come through and reach a place later on.
It was quite a slow overall figure that day as well, so that would suggest that it paid to race quite handy, so that wouldn't have done Stony Mountain any favours, would it?
Yeah, that's right, and you sort of take that run out of the equation. It's very rare to see him finish out of the first 2. I mean, he was thought good enough to run in the champion bumper behind Relegate last year, and although he was 16th of the 23 runners beaten 30 lengths, he was a 100 to 1 shot. So, yeah, don't dismiss Stony Mountain for Trevor Hemmings, who we know likes to have a winner here.
Just a couple of Irish raiders to mention. Commander of Fleet was a Grade 1 winner over 2 mile 6 last time out, beating Rhinestone. That was a nice performance. Another one for Willie Mullins, Allahu.
Impressed with him.
I think I said that properly. It was a really smooth success in that Grade 3 at Clonmel.
Is he in the Chieveley Park colours?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
quite impressed with him. Strong staying performance,
wasn't it? He didn't do a great deal on the clock, but just the manner in which he did it suggested that he could...
Would he go 3 miles or Ballymore, do you think?
He's probably entered in both, but it'd be interesting to see which one of those he goes for. Commander of Fleet looks nailed on to go for the Albert Bartlett. I think the 2 furlong step up and trip will suit him, and he's a Grade 1 winner. So that's about it for the novice races throughout the week. I think we mentioned quite a few horses there. We'll leave it at that for the handicap preview, and we will be for the novice preview, and we'll be back for the handicaps.